Hey everyone, Matron here bringing you another replay. This time this is the third game in the best of 3 series between Asgeroth and Maefor. In the first round action of the Scarlet Crusade Realm SC2 tournament. The series is tied 1-1, forcing a game 3. And the winner of this series will move on to the next round. The loser will just be sad and embarrassed. So let's see how it goes. I'm trying some new mic settings. A little bit of boost on my microphone since some people were complaining they couldn't hear me. So let me know in the comments if you can hear a little bit better or if these settings cause more static or background noise to be picked up. Asgeroth throwing down his 9 pylon per usual. Maefor starting a little bit early on that supply depot at 9, but it should be done a little bit early. Both these players played a large macro game on Lost Temple in the second game, which Asgeroth was able to win and force this game 3. Maefor was trying drops in Asgeroth's base and eventually lost his whole army, and Asgeroth was just able to build up and then roll over Maefor. Actually got a mothership out at one point, so we'll see what kind of game 2 players play here. But again, this is the elimination game, so both players concentrating, doing their best. Asgeroth got up a gas end gateway at 11. Now just both players creating workers, initial units, and structures. Like Maefor is going for a second barracks here before creating any units out of the first, and actually a third barracks, so could be going for some sort of rush, though the walking distance on Scrap Station very large. Go all the way down and then all the way back up. There's rocks in the middle of this map, 2 sets of rocks, but quite a bit of HP, 4,000 combined, so it'd take a while to bust through. But they can open up all sorts of different mid-game strategies if you are able to take those rocks down. Asgeroth has his first zealot out. It looks like he's going to send him out, possibly over to Maefor's base to do some harassment, or maybe to that watchtower. Maefor just getting up his gas, so this is late gas for a Terran. Now has his 3 barracks up. No Marines yet. It looks like these barracks are lifting up and going over to Asgeroth's base. This is not a scout. It wouldn't take all 3 barracks. So we're going to see some sort of barracks drop in Asgeroth's base. The first zealot is coming over. Going to do some exploration. Making his way up into Maefor's base. He's going to be able to do some good harassment here without any barracks. He should be trying to take down this mule. It looks like Maefor is going to try to get a surround with his workers. Workers don't do a lot of damage, but they're going to be able to take down that zealot. But that did cost Maefor quite a bit of mining time. And now he's landed in Asgeroth's base, and he's making 3, looks like, yeah, 3 Marines. Asgeroth is able to get out 2 Stalkers here, or should be able to. He is chronoing out his Warp Gate tech. Asgeroth just doesn't have enough production buildings here. Just 2 gateways. These Marines are going to be able to do good damage to these workers. Maefor is focusing, should be trying to focus down these gas workers. Able to get 1 worker, 2 workers, 3, 4 workers. Finally the Stalker comes out, and it looks like Asgeroth's possibly going to be able to take care of this, though 3 more Marines pop out. They need to start firing and not trying to rally to the minerals there. Sort of a misrally on Maefor's part. Probably could have taken down that Stalker, and maybe even the second one there, and then done some kiting on the Zealot. But one thing that did do is force Asgeroth to pull all of his workers off the line and prevent mining for a while. So both players doing some initial harassment. Maefor, quite the strategist there, lifting off 3 barracks and landing them in Asgeroth's base. So both players, a little bit of early aggression there, something we like to see. Last game they were sort of sitting back on their laurels a little bit and not attacking, so like to see aggression in these games, especially smart aggression. Looks like Maefor is preparing for some sort of counter here, throwing up a bunker and 3 SCVs, or 3 supply depots to wall off the front of his base. He's got quite a few SCVs, not doing anything here. Needs to get those guys back to work. Asgeroth's taking this opportunity to throw up an expansion. Let's look at the saturation for both players. 20 harvesters to 16. Again, both players just not enough workers at this point. They need to keep creating workers. You want 27, 30 workers per base. So Asgeroth's again going to chrono out some workers here. This expansion might be a little bit early, but if he does saturate better this time, he's going to have quite an advantage over Maefor in the economic department. Looks like Asgeroth also going for a Stargate. Maefor getting down a command center of his own and a factory. This bunker is not filled, so these stalkers can focus down these Marines. Marines finally getting in this bunker. Asgeroth could be pulling back this stalker before it dies. Don't want to lose too many units here. This bunker may go down, though Maefor pulls some SCBs to repair it. Finally gets it repaired. This cell is just going to whack away until he dies. A little bit of mismicro on both their parts. The bunker was not filled, and Asgeroth didn't have to lose that many units. One thing you can do is try to pick off the SCBs which are repairing. You'll probably not get the bunker, though he was sort of close there, but you're going to definitely do some damage if you take SCVs out. So this command center almost complete. Asgeroth does have his second nexus up. Again, he needs to hotkey these nexus, and you should be creating probes out of both of these nexus. Instead of having 4 queued on one nexus, have 2 on each, and you'll make them twice as fast. Also has 100 energy on this nexus. Just using the chrono off this one nexus is no good. Looks like Maefor is setting up a 3rd command center, floating a 2nd to this natural here, and taking the gold. He went right from factory into starport and getting a tech lab on that starport, so we may see some Banshee play here. Just building up a small force here of Marines Marauders. He's got quite the army. Asgeroth just has a few units here, and he has a few cannons for defense, trying to protect against any sort of drop. These cannons are also going to be able to detect any sort of Banshee play that Maefor tries as well, so nice safe move. Looks like Asgeroth may be sending out a scouting probe. See if he can detect this gold expansion down here. Both players just focusing on the economic game at this point. 2 bases for Asgeroth, 3 for Maefor. Not much of an army to speak of. And Asgeroth is going to see the space. Should attack this SCV before it can finish the command center. Force him to cancel it. Now finally going to attack a little bit late there. And we'll leave those two to their business. In the production, it looks like Asgeroth's getting up a 2nd Stargate. He already pushed out 2 Void Rays, and he's also working on a robotics facility. And it looks like Asgeroth is warping in a nexus here, right next to Maefor's command center. Not the best placement for this nexus, though. If he gets enough workers down here, he may be able to take advantage of these gold minerals, which return 7 every time a worker brings them back to the nexus, as opposed to 5 for the regular blue. Not sure if he thinks he can move this nexus once it's created, but I'd try to take down this command center with this army before you warp in that nexus. Looks like Maefor is coming down to defend this gold expansion. It's a very important part of the game. If he can defend this expansion and get up this base, he can take a huge advantage. He's got quite the army compared to Asgeroth. He needs to kite with these units. Does not yet have concussive shell or stim. Needs to focus fire down as well. He lost quite a bit of units, but he just brought more to the fight, and he's gonna take this one, be able to land his command center, create an orbital or a planetary fortress, which is going to be able to protect it a little bit from small ground armies. One thing Asgeroth could do is bring these Void Rays in. He now has 4 of, and take down this planetary fortress. It cannot attack air. Again, Maefor needs to get his natural here. created into a planetary fortress. The mules are just so worth it. Both players have small air forces now. Maefor moving out some banshees, and Asgeroth just saving up a number of void rays, and also getting out a fleet beacon. So it looks like he may go for carriers, perhaps another mothership here. Asgeroth does have out an observer, again seeming to use these observers for defense more so than active scouting offensively. You'd like to see him send that observer into Maefor's base and see what sort of tech Maefor's going for. Maefor's sort of all over the place. Looks like he is going for mostly banshees and researching Banshee Cloak as well. Needs to do a transfer of SCVs, perhaps from, well, his main's not very well saturated, but his natural is quite well saturated. Needs to get these SCVs down to that gold base where they'll really be able to take advantage. If we look at the income tab, 50 harvesters to 32 for Asgeroth. Again, 32 harvesters on 2 bases, just not enough. And he's got Chrono Boost full on 1 Nexus, so he needs to keep using that. Looks like we had a Void Ray harass. Let me back it up a little bit there. Hasn't been much action so far, so looks like Asgeroth's going to take these Void Rays as soon as the 5th and 6th pop out. Seems to be his magic number, into the back of Maefor's base. Maefor does a good scan here, so again, get intel on the opposing player and see what they're going for. So he can see these Void Rays now. He can start preparing some Vikings. Looks like Asgeroth takes that scan as his cue to start attacking with these Void Rays. I feel like Maefor doesn't have many workers at his main here, so he did a transfer to his natural, which is smart. And he's going to get up some missile turrets here. So he saw those Void Rays, he knows what to expect. Here they come. Void Rays should be charging up on the refinery or the orbital command. In come the Marines. They're just not going to be able to do enough against this many Void Rays. 6 is quite a few. Marines are usually a good counter for Void Rays, especially before they get charged up. Asgeroth going for this tech lab, very smart. Stim's being researched, so Stim's gonna go down here. He's not gonna get it. This Void Ray is getting more charged, more charged. Maefor needs to focus down the low Void Rays. He can't spread his damage all around. And looks like he doesn't have any sort of force which is going to be able to take care of these Void Rays. These Void Rays are going to start picking off barracks, take down this orbital command, spreading the damage all around, fully charged. They attack every 0.6 seconds for 25 damage once they're fully charged. So over 40 DPS. Taking down all these production structures. Maefor